President Trump did implement tariffs to Canada, Mexico, and China. But it's the response of our politicians that completely blow everything out of the water. There's so much to talk about. And, the headlines, as I said, they keep going and going and going. And of course, President Trump addressed Congress, and you know what? Pretty good speech there. But somebody that's not very good at making speeches is, of course, the leader of Canada, and that is Justin Trudeau. I mean, the guy's an absolute clown. He does not garner respect anywhere in the world unless, of course, he's giving Canadian taxpayer dollars away for free to everybody but Canadians. Now, he did have a meeting with Donald Trump on the phone. Of course, he couldn't go head to head with him because he'd get absolutely annihilated. And Donald Trump put out a tweet. So President Trump said, I had a call the other day about tariffs, told him that many people have died from fentanyl. And of course, Justin Trudeau said, but it's gotten better. Well, Donald Trump's, response to that, that's not good enough. The call ended somewhat friendly, as he mentioned. But here's the real kicker. He did ask, when is Canada's election? And the funny thing is that Trudeau couldn't answer that. Now, here's the thing. He's prorogued our government, put us in a desperate situation. We don't have anybody leading the country. I don't care what Trudeau says. Nobody's leading the country. He'd rather go to another country and spend our money. And so right now, today, we're sitting there looking at, a rudderless ship. And you know what? How about the fact of what this guy truly looks like when he's talking about Canada?
On a personal level, I've made sure that every single day in this office, I put Canadians first, that I have people's backs. And that's why I'm here to tell you all that we got you. Even in the very last days of this government, we will not let Canadians down today and long into the future.
Oh my God, just take us out of our misery with this guy. It's funny when he says every single day in this office. The funny thing is he's never in the office. I mean, 365 days of the year, he probably shows up about 10 because he never shows up at the office for Canada. This guy is an absolute clown. And by the way, I don't think he remembers that the Oscars were last weekend. He definitely is not going to get, the vote for the best supporting actor, maybe actress, but in the end, this guy is an absolute clown. You think that those crocodile tears are going to move Canadians? You continue to be an embarrassment. How you would even let somebody catch you like this? You know what? Man up. You wonder why Donald Trump wants to have his way with you. You're not supporting anything. He knows it. We know it. As Canadians, we're through with it. But here's the thing. They now have, coming up this weekend, the leadership election for the next leader of the Liberal Party, the current party in power. I mean, what a band of misfits that we've got to be able to select from. Now, fortunately, I will not be looking at a Liberal leader because there's nobody here that I would even think of electing. And first of all, I'd never want that party in power. They have destroyed Canada for the last 10 years. But here's the one guy that's leading the race right now. His name's Mark Carney. And Mark Carney, being the former head of the Bank of Canada, also the head in Great Britain. And, my problem with this guy is he's just nothing but a liar. He has been found nothing but lying through this entire, last few months, thinking that he's going to just be instilled to be the prime minister with 0 votes. Well, speaking of votes, he's got to go get into a by-election so that he can become an MP, so he actually could be a member of parliament. He's not even one of those. So nobody's elected him into anything. So you know what? This is going to continue to create havoc in the Canadian political, arena, because right now, as President Trump is looking at Canada, he's going, who the heck is running your country? Well, the one guy that's running off his mouth is Doug Ford, and Doug is the Premier of Ontario. And I got to tell you, he's just a backyard bully that likes to talk tough. You know what? He's done some really, really stupid things. And when we take a look at it, let's take a look at this one.
Of dollars of contracts that we have with the U.S. We are the largest purchaser of alcohol in the world. We buy over 3,600 products from 35 states. I talked to the governor of Kentucky and Mitch McConnell. Don't touch our bourbon. I'm going after absolutely everything.
Yeah, Doug, let's brag that we're all alcoholics in Ontario. You know, that's pretty funny. Yeah, we consume more alcohol than anybody in the world. Really good for our population to be recognized as that. But the one thing I have to ask you, Doug, is this. Why in the heck would you take off alcohol off a shelf? I know it's from the US, but you know what? The LCBO, the Liquor Control Board of Ontario, they've already paid for it. It's not here on consignment. So are you that daft that you don't realize that you're putting money back in a safety deposit box that isn't going to do anything for you? I mean, that's from a business perspective, that's suicidal. Why do you take money that you could turn around and get back by selling it and put it on the shelf? That just goes to show you what kind of leader you are when it comes down to business. It's embarrassing once again to an entire new level. Now, of course, he likes to talk about tariffs. He's a tough guy on tariffs. Here you go. He says that he's going to place 25% tariffs on electricity supplied to the U.S. starting Monday. Well, you know what? You need to back off away from this negotiation. You got to learn to negotiate, not threaten. You know, I know a lot of people are going to sit there and say, yeah, but Trump threatened us. Yes, but have you noticed what Trump's doing? He put it in place and then he starts pulling back. Whenever you're dealing with negotiations, you need to understand the arena you're dealing with. And again, Ford doesn't have a clue. He calls himself a businessman. I don't think so. I think he's nothing but a bully. And at this point, he's not doing good for Canada at all, and especially the province of Ontario. Now, one of the recent headlines out of Trump, and again, this is always moving, the minutia. So if you catch this and it's a day later, I'm probably late with the news. But here's one of the things that we do know is that Howard Lutnick, he is the Commerce Secretary. He's saying that Donald Trump's likely to start suspending some of the tariffs to Canada and Mexico. He'd alluded to it. I think what he does is he likes to turn around and control the narrative. So it's like, hey, he's getting everybody's attention, and so he should. When you take a look at our country, it's been sleeping for years under the management of the existing Liberal government. And the most recent tweet coming from Donald Trump was this. He's spoken to the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, and he's agreed that Mexico will not be required to pay tariffs on anything that falls under the USMCA agreement. So that's the original agreement that Canada, Mexico, and the US had signed years ago, and up until April 2nd. So again, he keeps kind of provoking us to say, okay, he wants something done. He sits there, slaps you, wakes you up, and then says, okay, now listen to what I'm saying and keep trying to do better. And again, he says, thank you to President Sheinbaum for your hard work and cooperation. Now, this is also a shout out to say to Trudeau, hey, buddy, wake up. You're not cooperating. You see, he likes people that cooperates, not kowtows, not kisses his ass. And I know there's some people saying that, hey, you're kissing Trump's ass. No, I'm not. He's negotiating, and that's how he negotiates. So, you know, it's always better to know who you're negotiating with. How about the guy that wrote the book on negotiations? You know what? He tells you how to deal with himself in his actual book. It's called Art of the Deal. Maybe some people should read it and understand where President Trump is coming from and his expectations. And again, looking at Trudeau, you know what? It's an absolute joke. And I'm sure there's going to be a whole lot more headlines. I just wanted to kind of wrap up some of the stuff that's going on this week. And again, shameful politicians in Canada, again, you know, destroying Canada's image and also Canadians because, you know, we can't go tariff for tariff. Doesn't make sense to go against the biggest economy in the world. But hey, listen, you know what? What do I know? One of the things I do know is that I would love to hear your comments. You know, tell me what you think. And most importantly, as I wrap it up every single time, I want to make sure that everybody's watching out for Canadians, taxpaying Canadians, family members, you know, the next gen, so important. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Todd C. Slater.